Hi, everybody. Hi, friends. Thank you for welcoming me into your home once again. You tidied up. It looks great. I don't know why I think that's funny, but I do. Welcome back to another episode of Have I Told You the One About? Have I told you the one about finding Joni Mitchell? Okay, this is great because I've never told this story before. When was this? How old am I? So 20 years ago, let's say, I thought, first I wanted to say, because I forget things, but I wrote this one down. This story goes out to the birthday boy, Doe. Happy birthday, Doe. I love you. Finding Joni Mitchell. 20 years ago, I was a young fag living in Vancouver, and I thought I want to make a feature film because whatever, who doesn't want to make a feature film? I had done a grad degree. That's why I moved to Vancouver. I did a grad degree in creative writing, and my thesis was a script. But having a traditional film script get made is not the easiest thing. So I thought, okay, well, I'm just going to do a DIY film. I'd been making a whole bunch of short little films with my friends. And I thought, okay, well, I'm going to just get all my performance arty weirdo friends together, and we're going to do a film where it's an in-camera edit. So we just rewind the tape and play it again. So I don't have to pay for an editor. And I'll make a feature film that way, and I'll improvise every little stage. It'll be it was a gay clown road trip movie. This is what I pitched in my grant. A gay clown road trip movie that was only in camera edit and it was mostly improvised. Who wouldn't give money to that? Anyways, I got all kinds of interesting people involved. Like Dennis Simpson said he was going to do it. Dennis Simpson, you might not, if you live in Vancouver, you know him because he was a performer there forever. But he was most famous for having been on the Polka Dot Door. He was Pokeroo. Well, he was Dennis Simpson, but he was also one of the Pokeroos. They had the rotating men. The Polka Dot Door was a Canadian kids show. I won't tell you the other story about Dennis Simpson. I have another story, but I won't tell that one. Anyways, Dennis Simpson and Noam Gagnon from Holy Body Tattoo, the dancer, choreographer, he said he was going to help teach me because the gay clown was a dancing clown. So he was going to teach me some moves. We were going to work on some moves. Anyways, I had all these people lined up and I was going to pay people if I got my grant and we were all going to create. Anyways, I didn't get the grant. Nobody wanted to give the gay clown improvised road movie to money. But that was okay because I thought, whatever, I'm just going to make my own fucking film and I'm going to do it really cheap. So I came up with a new plan and I was going to go on a road trip and shoot as the clown, go on a road trip and shoot the uh, film as a documentary and then put it together myself. That was my new idea. I'll tell you a little bit more about it. But I want to tell you about the clown so that you'd have an idea. Oh, so these ears come from the clown. My name was Peanut the Dancing Clown. And that's it's my email address. Peanut the Dancing Clown. When I used to go hang out with the Radical Fairies back in the early days, I still am, but back in the early days, there was this guy there who I just adored, Apple Blossom. All the fairies have take on, well, not all the fairies, but many of the fairies take on a name. So you have a fairy name. So it's sort of like your handle. Like my dad had the CB Club, and he was Dirty Ernie on the CB Club. And on the CB Club, my name was Pop Tart. Because, what do you pick when you're 10 years old? Pop-Tart. Strawberry Pop-Tarts were my favorite. Anyways, so my fairy name is Cookie, and Apple Blossom was a school teacher, and he was a sweetheart. He was the most gentle, kind, loving, sweet, adorable man. Still is. Moved away. But I just adored him. And he, one time at the Talent No Talent show, which happens every gathering. There's a talent, no talent show. So you don't have to be good. You just have to get up and do something. Not everybody has to. It's all volunteer. But people who are terrible get up and do terrible things. That's great. People who are great get up and do great things too. And walking onto the stage comes this giant clown who's like feels like he's 8 feet tall. He's got a white face, but he painted a big black beard. So it was just black at the bottom. So it was like this big, solid, chunky beard, a white face, and this clown costume, and a black eye. And he comes walking out on stage and he doesn't say anything. And he just stares at the audience for a long time, like so long people got hysterical and started getting giddy. And then he sort of adjusts himself and he looks dead in the eye of somebody and says, "Have you ever had sex with a clown?" And I don't know, it was just timing. It was just the sheer brilliance of him being that Mirabelle the clown. People were pissing themselves. That's all he said. He did a whole performance where he only said that. He said it about 6 times. And every time he said it, we lost our minds. Maybe other things happened. Anyways, that stuck with me. And I was like, okay, I need in on this. I'm a sissy drag queen and I'm hanging out with the fairies. And Lord, as my witness, do I want some of this clown action? So I chatted with him over dinner. And I was like, how the fuck do you figure out what your clown character is? And he said, well, you just start painting your face and you put on an outfit and then you figure out what the clown is. The clown comes to you, you don't come to the clown. And I was like, oh, okay. So I got some white face. I went home and got some white face and like went back to Canada, got some white face makeup, painted, picture. Oh my God, where did I put it? And I invented Peanut, the dancing clown. Peanut is such a little innocent sweetheart. I really like. Oh my God, look at that. How cute is he? Thank God my mouth was closed because when you wear white face, your teeth get so yellow. Anyways, that's Peanut. So we did this performance. The next time I went to the gathering, I did Peanut. I was so excited to show Mirabelle Apple Blossom that I had invented this clown character. I'm wearing Peanut's ears. And we did this performance where somebody had a fart, let a fart go like, and Peanut was like following the smell, like with his little red nose, trying to follow the smell out in the audience. I don't know. It was really fun. We have Heart Circle and we called it Fart Circle instead. Anyways, that's how Peanut came to be. So I had made a couple little films in the past. I'd made maybe, I don't know, about 8 or 9 films by that point. And then I made this short with Peanut in it, and it's called Two Peanuts. And it's just a cute little short about Peanut, the dancing clown, looking for a friend. But I really liked this character, and I thought I could do a feature with him. So my idea was that I was going to go out on the Canada Day long weekend and live off of my art for 3 days. So I was going to leave the house in my clown costume without any money. And I was going to I invited my friend to shoot the whole weekend. And I offered to pay him. And I paid his way and stuff. So I had money for him, but I didn't have any money for me. That was the rule. I gave him the purse and I said, you spend this on yourself. You're not allowed to give me any, even if I beg, borrow, and steal. And I'm just going to live off my art for 3 days. But it's no fun to not have a destination. So we wanted to come up with a destination. And I was thinking, trying to think of where we could go, what we could do. And then I remembered that I had heard that Joni Mitchell lived on the Sunshine Coast. And I was living in Vancouver. So the Sunshine Coast is like a hop, skip, and a jump away. It's a few rides away. And I thought, well, why don't we pick Joni Mitchell as the destination? Like, she's a Canadian icon. She has nothing to do with a gay dancing clown. But I thought, it's just a place to get to, right? It's not the destination, it's the journey, especially if you're making a movie. So I thought, well, we'll just make Joni be the place that we land, because where else does a Canadian artist go in order to seek inspiration but to Joni Mitchell? Anyways, so I left the house. I did my face and makeup. I gave the money to my videographer. Oh, and his name was Pat. Pat was the thing about Peanut. The reason why Peanut was so charming to me is because I had been doing Miss Cookie Lahore, the drag queen, and she was a nasty girl. She said just about anything. She was really sharp-tongued. She had seen everything and done everything, and what she hadn't, she wished she could have. She was trouble. Fun trouble. She's a sweetheart. But I had been doing this character for so long, and Peanut isn't very verbal and is an innocent. He was following the fart because he was just genuinely curious about it, right? He was like, "Oh, what's that aroma? Oh, he doesn't even know what gross is." That's Peanut. He's like the antithesis. And Peanut's sort of like sissy. Instead of being high femme drag queen, I could be sissy boy. And that was new for me to be this sissy boy. I wore, like I had my ruffles and everything, but I also had ruffles on the bottom. I wore like little tutu skirt and I had stripes and I wore yellow Crocs. I bought Crocs before anybody owned Crocs. Everybody asked me where I found these shoes when I bought my Crocs, and I would wear them as clown shoes because yellow Crocs, they're perfect clown shoes. They're so comfortable. You can dance in them all you want. You're dancing on rubber. Genius. And Pat, just to show you the contrast, Pat is a big film anarcho communist or whatever, or anarchist. He'd probably kill me. I don't know. He is anti-establishment everything, or was at that time. And he would make really political films. And he was a sweetheart. He had these big curly ringlets of hair. He had this massive curly hair and these pretty blue-green eyes. I think his birthday isn't his birthday on St. Patrick's Day. It was just happened. It was in March. I think his birthday is St. Patrick's Day, 17th, and that's why he's called Pat. Maybe I'm putting that together. It's really close to then, anyways. And he was adorable, just a sweetheart, straight guy. And he was dating my friend Catherine, who is this really great performer. I really loved her. Shout out to them if they're watching. I don't know, but you guys, I love you. I miss you so much. So Pat agrees that I'm going to pay him whatever a day, and then I think we agreed like I'd pay him so many percentage if the movie ever got made and made any profit. So we had this agreement, but I said, at the very least, we get to spend a weekend together. That'd be fun, right? We have a little adventure, and you'll never have shot anything like this before. So he got equipment and he mic'd me all up so I could be mic'd. And I leave the house and I go out to this spot. Actually, this is where I started. This is from still from the movie Two Peanuts, but that's Burju's store. That's a secondhand store right here. And she let me dance outside her store and try to do art to make money. I was busking in front of her store for that morning to start off, which was really sweet of her. So I did things like I sang songs for people. I would make up songs for people, and I brought books with me because I'd published a couple books by that point, and so I sold a bunch of books, and so I made like some really good cash for a couple hours. And I told jokes and I told stories, and I had a cell phone with me. Is that right? Did we have cell phones then? No, I didn't have a cell phone. What the hell did I have? I showed my movies on something. I don't know. I had some movies. Maybe I had them on a phone. Anyways, who cares? I showed people movies on something. It must have been it was a little TV DVD player. It was a little DVD player. Oh my God, technology. It's so weird. It was a little DVD player that had a little screen, and so you could watch the movie. So I had like little traveling cinema, and people would just, give me money for whatever, for doing stuff, and I would just solicit people. I was just, like this with white face, looking like that weird clown. So I raised quite a bit of money in front of Burju's store. I'll tell you about Burju another time. Burju's amazing. I love Burju. So once I sold a whole bunch of books because I didn't want to carry the books around. So I was really trying to get rid of the books because I didn't want to carry books all weekend. They're heavy. And I had this cute little flower print suitcase that was like a 60s blue, green, and yellow flower print. And I took an old book bag and sewed straps onto the suitcase so I could wear the suitcase like a book bag. It's so cute. I still have it. It was really hard to push the needle through through all that fabric, let me tell you. But I did a good job because 20 years later, I still use it. I packed it full of all of my wares, all of my toys to make things with. And Pat and I took a bus downtown, and then we jumped on the C bus, met some friends, took another bus to the ferry in Horseshoe Bay, took the Horseshoe Bay ferry to the other side to the Sunshine Coast. And I was living off my art, right? I wasn't paying for buses. I wasn't paying for cabs. I was paying for like public transit. But in order to get into Gibson's, the town, maybe we could have taken a bus. Anyways, that's no fun. It's not good TV. It's not good movie material. So I just stood on the side of the road outside the ferry with my thumb out in my clown costume and my camera guy kind of filming from the bushes. And I'm like, hey, I'm innocent. You want to give me a ride? I was like, woo. No, I'm really actually looking for a ride. People would honk and wave and they all thought I was just being charming. I was like, no, I really, and then I got a little more desperate and I was like, please give me a ride. Please, 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 please give me a ride. And this family pulled over and I thought, if somebody pulls over to give me a ride, should I take it? Because who the fuck is going to give a clown like me a ride? Anyways, but I realized, well, you just need to also trust people because, right there, I'm the real risk. This family pulled over, and it was a mom driving. I think she was a nurse, and her two kids, one kid in the front seat, one kid in the back. And so then there was me and Pat in the back. And Pat's filming all of this, right? He's also trying to film stuff. And we were trying to get permissions from people. And oh my God, it was such a shit show. Uh, and we go into Gibson's. Now, here's the thing for all of you Canadians who are young, or for all of you Americans who don't know anything about Canadian television, there was this wildly famous show. It's an iconic show. Everybody watched it, The Beachcombers. It took place in Gibson's. And the big famous restaurant that was still there, is it still there now? I should have looked this up. I don't know. Was Molly's Reach. Oh, I heard that. Everybody said it together. All the old Canadians said it together. Molly's Reach. So I'm in it. The really magical thing about having this clown outfit in this weird place is that I ended up in this iconic, without really meaning to. I didn't know anything about Gibson's. I didn't know Molly's Reach was there until I started to plan this trip to find Joni Mitchell and go to the Sunshine Coast. And you go to the one little town, which is a corner, and there was the restaurant. And so anyways, it was really cool and very trippy to be in this place that I had watched on TV growing up. And now I was making some stupid little movie as a gay dancing clown. And I did all kinds of things while I was there. I had maybe one or two more books, and I showed movies and I made jokes, and I just did all the same sort of things, but I did it in this spot. And so I made a little bit of money that day. I made enough for me to eat lunch and supper, which was great. So we ate at Molly's Reach. And you can imagine, like, I didn't take my makeup off. I was supposed to be doing this for the whole weekend. So here I am sitting in the restaurant like this, asking to get served food. And there were like kids looking at me, and I was wave, and some would cry and some would run over. And I had a really great time. It was very sweet. There were a lot of people who pretended like there was absolutely nothing weird about me sitting in the restaurant eating. And that is the difference between the northern North America and the southern North America, right? All these people didn't say a word. So when we got there, I had already done research, and I knew that there was a hostel. So we went to the hostel. I made enough money selling my books because they were $20 a piece. I don't know how many I sold, but I made enough money to get me a hostel room, and Pat had money for the hostel. And we ended up staying in the same room. There was nobody else there. There were like 6 beds or something, but no one else was staying there that weekend. And when I went into the hostel, and the hostel guy didn't even act like there was anything weird either, which I thought was so weird. And it was very obvious. I'm a very obvious gay clown because I'm wearing all kinds of pink, and you can't butch up what I look like or sound like at the best of times. So I was a huge sissy. And here's Pat, adorable, sweet, gorgeous little Pat hanging out. My husband's going to come say hello at the end of the story, so you might stick around, but I'm not nearly done. I'm almost done. I'm getting there. So the hostel guy who set us up didn't say a word. And finally, after he'd shown us the room and showed us the bathroom and all the rest of it, I was like, okay, I just want to tell you that, I'm doing this art project and that's why I'm dressed like this, la, 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 la. And he was like, oh yeah, okay, sure. People are interesting. So Pat and I just hung out for the evening for the rest of the night because what were you going to do down? There was nothing to do downtown. There was nothing there. There were barely even any restaurants. So I decided that instead of taking all my makeup off and going to sleep and waking up in the morning and doing the makeup again and trying to get it to look exactly the same, and it takes a long time to get white face on, I thought, I'm just going to sleep in this because, why not? And then I'll just do a touch up in the morning. So I had a spare boy clothes t-shirt for the ride home. So I took my t-shirt and I put it over top of the pillow so I wouldn't ruin the pillow because I'm a very conscientious clown, and slept for the night. And I have this weird habit whenever I sleep, particularly when I'm in stressful situations. I do two things. I talk in my sleep, and I sometimes sleep with my eyes open. I sleep like this. It's so creepy. So I have to tell people, if I'm talking and my eyes are open in the middle of the night, you just need to know that I'm asleep. And sure enough, that night, Pat said he woke up and I was saying things and he forgot. And he uh, took his phone. He had a flip top phone and was like shining it. And he said my eyes were open and I was in my clown face. And it was terrifying. But then he remembered that I was just asleep. So he went back to sleep and it was fine. And in the morning, surprisingly, it wasn't like the shroud of Jesus on my pillow. My face was in pretty decent shape. I had to just fix a couple of the little black lines that outlined it, and I had to put in on a little bit of powder because I dried out a little bit. My body was sort of absorbing the moisture from the makeup. So I had to freshen it up a bit, put a little water, a little sponge. And I went out on the town and I did a little bit of performance in the morning. I showed some more movies. I met some interesting people and we had breakfast. And then we heard while we were there, we kept telling people the whole time we were there, we were looking for Joni Mitchell. And we get these little clues. So when we were in Vancouver, they said, oh, you want to go it's outside. She doesn't live in Gibsons. She lives outside. I purposefully didn't do any research to try to find out where she lives. All I knew was she was on the Sunshine Coast. And somebody in Vancouver said, oh, she's not in Gibsons. She's like out of town. She lives in the country or whatever. So when we got to Gibsons, we started asking people and they were like, oh, we don't know. But somebody said, oh, if I were you, I would go to the Canada Day party because it was Canada Day long weekend. So they were having some sort of family event in the afternoon. And they said, you never know. It's a small place. She shows up places. You should go in case she's there. So Pat and I hitched a ride to get to, oh no, we took the bus. We took the bus because it was super cheap. It was like a city bus. So we took the bus and we asked them where to get off and everybody got off at the same place. And we get off the bus and we get into the fairgrounds and I'm wearing this crazy outfit, which is fine because it's a party. There's only one other person dressed up and it's this drag queen way on the other side of the park. And there's like some electricity was in the air. And she happened to look at me just as I looked at her. We both noticed each other was there and we kind of went, what? Like, what's happening? I'm like, why is there a drag queen at a Canada Day event? And the drag queen was probably thinking, why is there a gay clown at the Canada Day event? So we gravitated to each other and we met. And he was this 70-year-old guy. Let's call him Bill. I'm going to write that down because I'm terrible at remembering names I invent. I don't remember his real name. And you don't want to know his real name. So Bill was 70 years old, was a very large man. He was like 6'3". He was like 6'7" in platform heels in the grass in the park. He's wearing this very revealing dress. Like it's this low scoop, sexy dress, sequins, makeup, but the makeup wasn't, let's just say it was makeup for someone who was losing his eyesight and hadn't ever really learned how to do makeup, and who knows why he was even a drag queen. The makeup was like some rough lips. It looked like he'd given a few blowjobs already that morning, and some blue eyeshadow. He'd lived a life and decided to be a drag queen after. He wasn't the he wasn't the drag queen that you want to bring home to your mother. And he was foul mouthed. He was so filthy. The minute he knew I was gay was probably the minute he saw me. But when he came up and he clarified that I was gay, he just got so filthy. Granted, my legs looked really good in that tutu. I told him what we were wanting to do. We worked this, so we worked the crowd. He helped. He went around and asked some people. He didn't get anywhere with the people he knew at the party. He lived there. He was just hanging out. He just liked to do drag sometimes, like Halloween, but it was Canada Day and it was daytime. And I didn't have any luck either. So we decided we kept checking in with each other because he would run off and do some work and then come back and say, oh, yeah, no. So he said, okay, well, I'm going to take you to my place. And then somebody said that I should drive up whatever highway this is, some blank highway, Highway 4. I don't know what it is. We should drive up Highway 4. And Bill said, okay, I'm going to take you to my house and I'm going to get changed and we're going to jump in the car and see what we can do. So we do that. He's really sweet. We get in his car. It's an old shitbox car. There's garbage everywhere in the back seat. I'm sitting in the back seat so that Pat can more easily shoot the front of me and the side of him instead of being in the back and shooting the back of both our heads. He's not a great driver. We get to his place. He drives very fast. He likes to pass. It's a 2-lane highway. I thought, this is a bad outfit to get in an accident in. I don't want to die with this face on. Anyways, we get to his place and he lives in a trailer home, which is his temporary home. He sold a house and now he's in this trailer home. And the trailer home, when we walked in, was full of furniture. And he said, oh yeah, I had a 3-bedroom house and I just sold it. So this is my temporary home. I'm waiting to buy a new place and I'm just in this place. I think it was a place he owned and he rented out. But he had all of his furniture from a 3-bedroom place in this little trailer home. So there was really nowhere to go. Like there was stuff piled everywhere. And we get to his house, into his home, and he sits me in a chair and Pat's there filming everything. And he says to me, he says, oh, I'm just going to get changed. Do you want to come back and help me? And I was like, ha, 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 Bill. And he's like, no, really, like, why even go look for Joni Mitchell? We just stay here and fuck. You got a camera. Look, you got a camera operator. He's cute. I do him too. We could just stay here and, fucking shoot a movie. They've probably never seen anything like this before. And he wasn't kidding. He wasn't kidding. He hit on me for an hour straight, or an hour queer. He got changed. He came out in next to nothing. Oh God, maybe he came out naked. He might have came out. I didn't look. He was unbelievable. But he finally puts boy clothes on. He does some, he delays and delays and delays. And it's clear that I'm not going to do anything with him. And Pat is definitely straight and has a girlfriend and is monogamous. So it's not going to happen. Can we just please go find Joni Mitchell? And he finally says yes. And we get in his car. And while we're driving, he says to Pat, okay, I want you to turn that camera off because I want to tell you a story. And I was like, okay. And then I'm not going to tell you the story because I don't want it to be triggering. But let's just say he told me a sexcapade, which was wildly illegal, wildly inappropriately illegal. And, there are 2 witnesses. Like, who cares whether the camera's turned off or not? You told me something that you really shouldn't have told me. Was super creepy. Hi. So we drive down the highway that he says to drive down, and I'm thinking, I really just need to get out of the car. I just don't need to be around this guy. But if I find Joni Mitchell, well, there's always a story that I get out of this. And what we did, this is how you find Joni Mitchell when you don't know where she lives on the Sunshine Coast, and she's probably not even living there anymore. So we're fine. So she lives on the highway. We found that out from somebody we found out somebody at the party, or maybe he called someone at home. He called somebody at home and they said he lives on the highway. She lives on the highway. We don't know where. So we drove down that highway and we went to the pizza place and we looked for the phone book because when we got to the pizza, yeah. Oh, see, I'm remembering details. That's why it's good to tell stories. I've never told this story before. Have I told you that? Never told this before. When we get to the pizza place, we ask them if they know where Joni Mitchell lives, and they say no, but she has a caretaker, and I don't know where the caretaker lives, but I know the caretaker's name. It's so and I have a phone book. And we were like, Jesus, you're sleuthy. So the guy gives us a phone book and says, oh yeah, Joe or whatever. He orders a pizza every Friday night, and this is his name. But we're not the driver, and the driver's out. So just look it up. So we looked it up, and there in the phone book is Joe's name and the rural route number, like the little number on the mailbox. And we go back down the road and count the numbers. There's 4276 and 4272 and 4270. And we found whatever it was, whatever number it was. And it was this nondescript road. It didn't look like anything. It was just a little turnoff. And we pull in. The drag queen, who's not a drag queen anymore, who tells you inappropriate things that could get him arrested, pulls off, and he drives down this tiny little road. It's a little road through the forest, through the thick forest on Vancouver Island. And it's this little path, it's this little road, and you drive this way and you drive that way, and it comes all the way around. There's a little house up there. And we were like, oh shit, there's a little house up there. And we kept driving. That must have been the caretaker's house, right? We kept driving, we went around, then we get this really beautiful, it comes out to this beautiful opening. There's this little bay. The property has its own little bay in it. And there's water, fresh water running down into it. There's a little creek that comes through. And there's this cute little blue house. It's like a 2-story house, probably 3 bedrooms. It's darling. And I had bought for the end destination, if I did manage to find Joni Mitchell, I had bought a little golden peanut. I found a necklace that had a peanut that had been dipped in gold. So I was bringing Peanut. Peanut was bringing Peanut to Joni to just thank her for her amazingness, for being this Canadian who gave us so much joy and love and beauty. And we get there and we knock on the door, and there's nobody answers. Nobody's there. There's no vehicle or anything. There's no lights on. And we go down and we just go to look at the water because it's such a pretty place. So we were there maybe 6 minutes. And we went to get back in the car, and this guy pulls up, and it's the caretaker's son. And his name, let's call him Bob or something. Bob, or maybe not Bob, because that's my uncle's name. Bob's your uncle. Dave. So Dave comes up and he says, oh, I'm the caretaker's son. And, like, what's the clown doing on the property? So we told him the whole story of why we were there. And I show him that we have this peanut, the golden peanut that we'd left. We were going to leave for her. And he's all cool with it. And we're just about to leave. And another car pulls up. And isn't it Joe, the dad, in a rage, like furious? What are you doing here? This is trespassing. I'm going to call the police. You're terrible people. This isn't you can't do this. You are not allowed on this property. You need to get out of here. And his dad and the son and the dad were having this fight. And oh my God, it was so intense. But at the end of the day, Joni Mitchell wasn't there. We left the golden peanut. I got rid of the drag queen and did not have sex with him, because people like to ask me, and no, I did not have sex with him. And I never made my movie. I never finished it. I have all that footage of Peanut the Dancing Clown. So there you go. That's my story. My husband, he talked to his mom today, and my husband wanted to come say hi.
Hello, Meme.
Why do you have
I brought Kleenex because I was told that some stories were moving, and I wasn't sure what this one was. So,
this is not anyway, a sad
so you
story.
have Kleenex for next time.
Oh, that's sweet of you.
You never know.
Here, let me move over a little bit. Okay, I'm gonna. Ooh. Oh, do you know what Sophia Loren's advice is for staying young, looking young? Sophia Loren, how is it that you managed to stay young for so long? And she says, don't grunt when you sit down. I just grunted. I showed my age. Okay, so you were really good at the magic story bag last time. Do you know the jingle? Do you know how it goes?
No, I don't know.
Magic story bag. Do other people want to sing it with me? Okay, put your hand in. You got to swirl it around. You're so good at this. You're so good at this. Look, How I Met My Hubby. Oh, so tomorrow it's a love story. Let me tell you. I want to remind you to like my YouTube page, share your favorite story, subscribe to my channel, and click the notification bell. I'm still learning all the language of all of this exciting live TV stuff. Do I have anything else to report? No. Oh yeah, I do. Oh, I have this. I forgot this. This is my homemade. Don't forget, you can always send me an email through michaelvsmith.com, or you can tweet out at Michael V. Smith. I haven't been reading all the letters out that I've been getting because I'm just not sure whether I'm allowed to read all the letters and whether people care. But maybe I'll read letters, and if you don't want to read letters, you need to tell me, don't read this letter. I don't know what to do, but whatever. This is enough TV for now. Oh, Jesus, that's 36 minutes. Selfie time? Yeah. Oh, you can take a selfie. You want to take a selfie in between us? Take a selfie between us. You got to leave space for their head. There, look. You can always pause it. Don't worry. There you go. And you can send us a selfie because we like that. Some people have, but only like one. So when I say people, it's two people. Oh, no. Anyways, one. Love you lots. Thank you for listening. This has been another fantastic episode of This Is Your Life with Have I Told You the One About? Tune in tomorrow. Oh, look, now I have to click this button. And then I click this button, and then everybody goes away.